Okay. So the call order. Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Scott Hess is absent. Michael Bailey.
Here.
Janet Falsetta.
Here.
Kurt Bull.
Here.
Michael Berkey.
Here.
Nate Oslin.
Here.
Lauren Eva. Here.
I'd like to recognize the visitors. Thank you for being here. Appreciate that. And just a little reminder that at the end of our meeting is when you have an opportunity to speak. Appreciate you being here. We do have a consent grouping.
I'll make a motion that the Roscommon Area Public Schools Board of Education approves consent grouping A through C as presented.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? No nays, motion passes, resolution passes. We have discussion items. Superintendent contract. I know some of us didn't have a chance to look it over, but they did online, but they did a hard copy here for you guys to look at. You take a minute to review it.
Who do we direct questions to? Who could answer the questions that?
Kathy answer your question.
Okay, on the merit. On appendix A salary schedule, what is the merit based on?
Based on evaluation,
Okay,
how you evaluate the superintendent.
okay,
And I think it probably is laid out under number 6.
it probably is, I didn't really.
That's fine, if you go to number 6 on the back of the first page. C, under compensation, it says merit compensation.
Thank you.
Refresh my memory on that, Kathy, again, is that every year?
It is initially for a period of time, and then after so many years of, assuming the evaluations are effective, you can do every other,
Oh, okay, so it's, okay,
right?
there's like a predetermined period of time where it's
No.
annually or?
No. It can kind of be at your discretion.
Okay. Okay,
Once enough years of effectiveness, I think it's a 3-year,
Okay,
you
that-
have to get to 3 years before you.
okay, that's
get
right,
that.
okay,
And at that point, we can either choose to evaluate or choose to not evaluate.
Okay,
As long as it was effective beforehand.
Right,
okay,
and you just would carry the last year's evaluation forward. And then you would be obligated to evaluate the next year.
okay.
Oh, there's Mr. Hess.
You're done.
No, sorry, a 4-minute meeting would be a record.
We're done.
Sorry about that.
We're just discussing the superintendent's employment contract.
Okay.
We have a copy of it, so we're all kind of reviewing and looking at it.
Great.
And I'll get you your little here.
There was a question about the merit pay.
We can do it after.
But I think that was answered,
Okay.
so don't.
Oh, sorry.
I think it was answered. Hmm? Yes, go ahead.
I got lots of papers.
So is this written in stone or is this flexible or? Pretty much this is it, right?
That's the version that we negotiated at this point in time. It'd be nice to have an agreement in place, right, before the school year ends to begin next year, July 1.
I don't really see an issue with it at all. I would just like to see the merit tied to something more substantial than our evaluation, like if it was directly tied to maybe the reading percentage scores or. That's all. That way it's not up to. The board's discretion or personal discretion, so to speak, it's up to an actual statistic that everyone worked hard to get.
I feel like that's part of the evaluation, like we talk about, we talk about that. So it could be,
It mirrors
okay, that's,
Kathy's contract, which was based on her evaluation. The merit pay.
Is it typical to have a 3-year contract for the first year, first superintendent's first year?
I'm sorry.
Is it typical to have a 3-year contract for?
No, this is untypical in terms of what we previously had with Kathy over the years. But the thought process I think that we had was, this would be obviously the first version, and it wouldn't be when it's renewed, so to speak, it's renewed for 1 year, it's not renewed for an additional 3 years. So the thought that I had and proposing to the board is that we have a new superintendent that's gonna take her a little getting used to the job time. And so it didn't seem to be inappropriate to me.
I was wondering how Horace is rating, or not rating, but rating superintendent contracts. Cause they like to see that 3 years so that there's no huge bumping from year to year. So it's kind of, that's how I was in favor of structuring it to 3 years. So again, we can terminate it any time. But this way we have to schedule it, basically. Yes, we keep it as a, we like, okay, for next year, we have the next year, so it's always gonna be a 3-year contract, so that way there's a 3-year. Scale that's can or escalate settled. And not fight at retirement. Down the road. It's just it's a new model. Based on. How we do things now.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I think other superintendents were looking for more security too. They kind of wanted to have a multi-year contract.
You know, Sean, our advisor, so to speak, was kind of alluding to that certainly, and that was something that I think we kind of contemplated when we were putting out the, you know, the specs, so to speak, for trying to attract candidates for the position.
Yeah, I think it's kind of good for all parties, to all parties feel secure, a little more secure.
Good. Good.
I'll make a motion that the Roscommon Area Public Schools Board of Education approve the superintendent contract with Desiree Bearlock as presented.
I have one more question.
Okay.
The annual evaluation that MASB like trains us on. My understanding is like that is required, right? And is it allowed to have additional evaluation tools added to that, or is that, it's just this, it's like black and white, it's only this evaluation and nothing more?
I think the statute kind of makes the reference that we must have one evaluation a year. It doesn't say.
Of the state approved programs.
But
So
can
you,
it be that plus, or is it solely restricted to that?
I think you'll find when you look at it, it's pretty
It's
comprehensive.
pretty-
I don't know what else you would
Yeah.
add to it. Typically you choose one of there's several options, but you choose one and you stick with that.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Always good. All questions are good. I coincidentally, you know, when we're looking at this and I'm trying to refresh myself on what the law says, I pull out the statutes that are referred to in the initial introductory paragraph. Under evaluation from 3, and that's pretty complete in terms of what is required. That we were kind of trying to follow. So we had a motion by Kurt and a second by Jana. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay.
Nay.
Okay, next up, a student support position, Director of Learning and Student Support, Kathy.
All right, so this is the position that we had talked about 2 meetings ago to work with the new superintendent on the academic and behavioral supports for the district. This is the district-wide position, so it'll work with all of our teams that do curriculum leadership, what we call ISSN or intentional student support networks all at the district, and then there are those teams at every level in the building. This person will also be the person that coordinates all of our grant funds to support at-risk learners. Much of the work comes with state grants that work with specifically targeted populations of students who are at risk. And so this position will make sure that that funding is being used effectively, it's being maximized, and it's producing the support and the help that we need to provide students. So this will be a position that works with staff and who works with principals and administrators and who coordinates these programs for us district-wide. And so we went through the talent management process and have selected Kathy Lambrese for this position. You will see a copy of her contract on her desk or on your desk, and it mirrors principal contracts with one exception. and that's the number of days the employee will work. We have it for 44 weeks, 219 days. Practically speaking, because we tend to talk in school years, this is 3 weeks after the end of the first school year. And 4 weeks before the start of work by teachers in August. In all other ways, it mirrors other administrative contracts.
So similarly to the superintendent like contract with the evaluation tool, is there an evaluation tool or how will this person be evaluated in this position?
This person will be evaluated by the superintendent, but the tool isn't as specific because it's a person who is not working directly with students, so the law doesn't specifically reference what tool has to be used for them. They did it for superintendent, for administrators, and this person will use the administrator one with some modifications because their role will be slightly different than that of building principal. So yes, it will be done by the superintendent.
I remember when this came up initially. There was a big, there was issues going on with. Maintenance, and that's when we started to discuss maintenance, was when this came up. And I was just wondering when, cause the issue that I had at the time was that we needed to pay attention to maintenance. If we were gonna pay attention to the administrative and, I'm wondering, here we are with this position, what progress have we made with maintenance?
Well, I've had discussions with Joe Meadows about what it looks like going forward. When I talk to him now, he's okay right now. He has plenty of assistance as we go forward and move into the summer season. A number of the transportation people work on grounds in the summer, so he has help and assistance now. I mean, I think what we were talking about at that meeting was more a transition plan to take the information and knowledge that lived with Joe Meadows and try to institutionalize that so that there was some plan to backfill him when he was gone.
Okay,
And that we do not have a solution for at this time yet. But I mean, it is something that the district will have to monitor and figure out a plan going forward. I mean, Joe is not intending to leave right away, so that's one of the things that is in that mix is like the timing of bringing somebody in and how you do that. So Joe does have an assistant, a helper who works with him every day. It's a year-round position right now, but that person is not not really a candidate for a replacement for him. He's gone.
thank you.
I'll make the suggested resolution that the Ross County Area Public Schools Board of Education approve the Director of Learning and Student Support contract with Kathleen Lamberys as presented.
I'll second
Motion by Mike Perky, second by Mike Adams. Is there any further discussion?
I just think I'm uncomfortable with hiring a position where there's not like, I don't understand like what are the clear outcomes for like, what does this person add? Like, I understand there's areas under their purview, but it's not clear to me where their accountability lies. And I feel like this is certainly a nice thing to have in any school district. And I guess I just want to make sure that I don't know how to make sure that there's results from hiring this person that are like felt and visible and really working towards improvements across the district. So I just want to state that.
Actually, this would be one of the easiest positions to monitor because they're gonna get judged by how much money they bring in.
If that's one of the evaluation
Right.
criteria, then
Because
that's
they're right, they're the ones.
great,
writing the
like
grant.
to understand that. It's not limited to that, though, I don't.
Sure,
If it were, I think this would be a different position.
right on.
This person will be charged with maintaining the systems that we have in place, operating and functioning smoothly. So I think that would be a lot of the criteria that by which this person's success is measured. how well is our system of support working both at the district level and then going down to the building levels and supporting teachers in classrooms, supporting learning, supporting the curriculum process as we move through, identifying curricular weaknesses, trying to patch those with curricular fixes, all of that. You're right, it's a little bit ambiguous, but it's just such a critical person to head that work and keep those systems operating.
How do we know when the person in this role is really effective versus kind of mediocre? I guess that.
What was the very last phase, kind of what?
Well, or just fine, I guess. Like, how do you know what the difference is? How will we be able to measure that? Not we, but like, how will Des be able to measure that? I guess if I just knew there was a really clear way to say this person is highly effective versus this position is filled and it exists.
I think you could
That
say
would
that
give
about a lot of
me-
positions, so
Sorry,
you could say that about a lot of the positions in this building.
well, it's a new position that we're having, so
Yeah.
I'm just trying to make sure.
I mean, some of the criteria by which, it'll be reflected will be somewhat, as I said, not clear. It's not gonna be a numbers game, I don't think. I think it's gonna be the effectiveness of working with staff to create small system cycles of improvement that, work through the processes that we're trying to address. This person won't be so much sought for answers as maintaining the structures and providing the platforms and the methods, or providing the ability for those people to come together and work to solve those issues, almost more of a facilitation sort of role than but there's a lot of that leadership that has to happen and time spent with those teams to make them highly productive, high functioning small teams in buildings and administration, and this person will, be in charge of those roles. I think that the success of this person will be mirrored in the success of the superintendent. Because this will in a lot of ways be the direct liaison to the staff and the curriculum and the behavior in buildings will come through this person. The reason this person is critical is without this, all of this lands on the superintendent's desk.
I do agree with like the position supporting Des, and just to be clear, like, I don't really have an issue with, this person or this contract. It's more just really looking at it, like, how can we support Des? And again, I don't know anything about this, specific person, and it's not our purview as a board, but, if this person were ineffective, how would Des be able to, let them go? I guess maybe that's a different way of looking at it.
Right, well, I mean, it's an administrative position with a contract that needs to renew, and Des would simply say, hey, this isn't working and we're not renewing this contract, and thank you, move on, I mean, Des has a lot of latitude in maintaining this relationship or ceasing it if it's not functioning well.
Okay.
So, and your role as the board, your measurement will be Des. Your focus will be on Des. Is Des effectively doing things? And it will be Des's determination then to say, these are the people who are helping me, or these people aren't helping me get where I need, and I need to change direction.
Okay.
Question?
Okay, again, we have the motion by Michael Perky, second by Mike Bailey. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Next up is the RES Assistant Principal, Kathy.
All right, so this position is a little bit of a change from where our original thinking was. We had talked at the last meeting about the posting for Dean of Students at RES. And so we had gone through that process and we'd only posted it internally. We knew we had people within our system that were both qualified and and ready to do this work would be very good at it. So we posted it only internally. We had 2 applicants for the position. We interviewed both of them. The committee made their selection. And it was exceptionally close, like they ended up tallying weights down to decimal tenths of decimals, and so it was a very tough process. And when you hire internally, it's very tough on people because you're being asked to evaluate people you work with closely, and these were 2 excellent people, so it was hard on the talent management team that went through that process. But they did, the points led to a single individual, and so we went to talk to this person, and then, as that process began to unfold. Desiree and I started thinking about what it is that we want this person, within the realm of doing, and what was being limited with the dean of student label as opposed to an assistant principal label. And so, both of the candidates we interviewed were both have administrative certs, both are fully qualified. And so we decided that this position would be better and stronger and more used to the district as an assistant principal. Being assistant principal or by law affords a few other rights than just being dean of students. You are able to legally suspend students from school. It gives a little more authority in talking with parents as you deal with situations and make behavior plans and talk about bringing kids in and out of school when things aren't going well. And so for the end, it also for the administrative team, we're hoping that this will provide some support across the district for behavior, not just at the elementary school. Obviously, our focus is to start there. But we're hoping that then it can kind of backfill and provide some additional support at the middle school who also doesn't have an assistant. And so, when people are out at conferences or out because of meetings, this person then will have the authority by statute to make decisions in buildings and can sub when needed in other buildings. And so for that reason, we are proposing this as an assistant principal position. Financially, it really isn't much different because as you know, the top of our teacher pay scale and the administrative scale are essentially in the same nexus. And so financially, it's not much different, but it does again provide some more authority in buildings with the position. And so for that reason, we are proposing this as an assistant principal position, and we are asking that we hire Michelle Napolitano.
Should we, the resolution refers to the elementary school as opposed to the face of the contract not specifying that. Should we just have the resolution refer to an assistant principal position per se?
That probably provides some added flexibility, yes.
That way we can ask her.
Right, to go other.
And she can do both, she's able
Yes, yeah.
to do both.
Certification wise, certification comes in a K-12 administrative.
Okay.
So you could do any building.
Okay,
I have one concern, not for the position, because I totally support the assistant principal, because we need it. My concern is, did everybody internally know that it was a assistant? It sounds to me like we found our person as a dean of students as being offered, and then that's the one that we selected, and now we're switching the title over to assistant principal. Are we missing out on some staff that would have applied had it been an assistant principal from the get-go?
Yeah, that I don't know for sure. I can't answer.
That's
for
my
sure.
concern.
But
I'd like to see it.
Yeah, I was-
Again, and give everybody else another crack at it, or, 'cause it seems like people didn't get shot. At the print, because it just, we discussed this last week,
Mhm.
and now all of a sudden, yeah, we got our person, to me, it feels like we got our person, now we're calling it this job. And we're gonna run with it, which again, I'm 100% behind the assistant principal.
Mhm.
I mean, I beg for it. I just would like to see maybe slow down. See if we get some other internal candidates.
Kurt, I agree with you 100%, 1000%.
And in that case, if this is the person, then this is the person, but I just feel like. We owe our other staff that didn't want to be dean of students, but oh yeah, I'm gonna be assistant principal. That choice, because again, it's 2 different jobs.
Well, I'm not sure practically day in, day out is any different. I mean, the title is different, yes.
Well,
I mean,
do they have different like growth plans? Like, would you assume, where would you go from dean of students?
Probably into an administrative role.
I keep hearing that the middle school is worse behaviorally than the elementary school. But every new behavioralist job I see is for the elementary school, but why, I don't understand. Is there a reason? I mean, can we do the same thing in the middle school? Cause I mean, what I'm hearing is that the middle school is worse behaviorally than the elementary.
I don't think I'd agree with that assessment. I think that the majority of our high flyers or the majority of our high need students reside at the elementary school.
Okay.
You know, there are a few of those that reside at the middle school too. We have, you know, there's only about 170 kids here at the middle school. And we have a principal and a full-time counselor. And then other counseling support systems in place here, so, I mean, you know, it could. I think everybody would say they can use more help, you know what I mean, I don't think it's that, Mike, I just don't, the. The number, there are more numbers at the elementary school to support, that need support. Than here.
Okay, and then the other question I had is that when it's behavioral stuff, it's more or less, you know. I don't know a political way to say it, the parents need help, they need. Help parent, that's basically what we're doing, when we add these administrative roles such as behavioralists or whatever. Do we have any community outreach, such as like parenting classes or something like that, that maybe help the community itself? I mean, they're the ones who pays the bills, maybe we can turn around and give them a class on. Maybe how to do better parenting, so we end up with better kids in school.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Something to do.
Involvement is a tough thing in schools, you know, I mean, we have those nights and you've been to them and we bring parents and we bring kids in and we get great turnout and we get great family support. But we struggle to reach the parents who probably could benefit from some classes. We have not, as a school, offered classes. I know at various times we have partnered with DHHS as they have offered classes. And I'm guessing Jana can give you more information about the struggle that DHHS faces as it tries to do parent education. It's just tough. There's, you know, there's logistic issues about bringing them in, timing, transportation, childcare for other things. And then there is simply getting them past the barrier of coming and getting engaging, you know. So I mean, you're not wrong in your idea, but I'm not sure that we have a carrot to get parents to engage with us in that way. I don't know what that would be, I guess, if it.
I know it's tough, it's just.
Yeah,
It's
and
really-
you're not wrong, I mean, we could, you know, there's lots of, you know, things that we could do to strengthen that relationship with families at school, and I think we work with that through those nights where we do, you know, ELA night, and we have a math night or STEM night. Trying to bring parents in, give them resources to work with their kids in science, or give resources to work with them as they need with their children and things like that.
You know, when I did pathways, I was in the elementary and we kind of. You know, the door opening was their attendance, and that was our cue, maybe that there was some barriers that families. Were, you know, dealing with, so higher, you know, attendance issues, we would meet with parents, and as a pathways worker. Would talk to them about their struggles, and that includes even just going to kindergarten roundup and saying, this is what time your kid should be in bed. This is how much sleep they
Right.
need, you know, little things like that. I did that when I was in pathways and I loved it, it was great. I don't think we have a pathways worker anymore.
No, I don't, no.
But I can tell you that DHS currently is developing, they're called pods, and they have. A pathways worker, basically an eligibility specialist that is working with. CPS or Child Protective Services, and they are creating teams so they can work together. CPS would be your, unfortunately, that's your, and I'm not.
There's a referral.
Yeah, you need a referral, and when I was a pathways worker, I set all the elementary teachers up at that time on doing it online. Yeah. To make the referral process a little easier, it was much easier than phone calling, and I don't know if they still have that, I don't know. I've been out of the system out of the schools for a little bit, it's before COVID, so it's been
Yeah, that's still access through online
Perfect, yeah, so,
systems.
I mean, referrals are pretty serious things, I'm not sure.
I mean, that's not generally a widespread parent.
That's a
Yeah.
difficult
The
connotation.
parent and you know, eventually, once they, I guess, secure the, I don't know who the. I actually do know her, and I'm going to that office tomorrow, maybe I'll reach out to Lindsay. And see if she is willing to go to the open houses and stuff like that. It was so fun, we would give out little pencils and bookmarks and
Yeah.
talk to the kids.
And we have those people at the things like kindergarten roundup and
Yeah.
preschool roundup, and you know, the health department will be there to do eye screenings and vision,
Yeah.
and so. There is community partnerships that are visible at those, the health clinic is there to talk about those things, but.
Right,
We have tried at various times to get classes where we pull people together and we just. Even if we give bus tokens or we feed them, we just don't get people here. I mean, doesn't mean we don't try, we just maybe have not found the right carrot to get them here. But
You said, who ran that program when you did that? Was there someone in charge of that program?
it was kind of a partnership with DHHS at the time, and then we've tried with the health department to, or the health department, the health clinic. Where we've done things.
Community mental health.
No, the school-based health.
Oh,
I feel like it was grants. There too, I don't remember.
I remember doing some too around tobacco and, what's the? I can't think of her name, Joe Allen. We've done some of those around anti-tobacco, anti-drug sort of stuff too.
I mean, for the record, I'm not against the position. I just think that basically what's going on is the parents are creating work for the administration. And the most selfless thing to do would be to try to teach them how to parent, not keep adding administration.
Well, I will say that these people work very hard to form relationships with those parents so that,
Yeah.
you know, so that it becomes a team approach, and there's behavioral team meetings that happen. Depending on the need of the child, they may be, you know, twice a year, and if the child has more needs or the plan isn't working very successfully, those meetings may be as frequently as every week, check in. So these people do work with families individually, and often the families with children who have behavioral issues have additional outside agency support. It might be DHHS, it might be community mental health. And so, or, you know, it might be some sort of private physician or
Do we offer any adult classes in this school?
no.
so who is in favor of tabling this so that we give
I'd
other?
like to speak first if you don't mind.
I'm not taking a motion, I'm
Okay.
just wondering kind of consensus.
Oh, okay. I'd like to.
Okay.
John,
Or
or
your thoughts.
Oh, I have a question before I can have a thought, so. The qualifications versus for dean versus, like, if you were to repost this, put this out there, like, is there different qualifications? Like, could there be different people? Why would there be different people? I just don't.
The only thing I can think of in different people would be somebody who wanted an administrative role who was certified.
Oh, because it would be administrative, so
Right.
dean would be different. As far as administrative.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, that I just wasn't
actually-
understanding.
yeah, I actually had a meeting with Kathleen Does today about this.
Okay,
Cause I received, when I first, I got we got the agenda, I noticed that it said assistant principal. I remember specifically, she said it was dean of students that we were gonna hire. And so then, over the weekend, I got a phone call from a couple teachers and who were upset about the process, okay? And talking to Kathy and Does, they agree that the process was flawed. How it was presented, because they presented it as dean of students. They posted it as dean of students. The people who were interviewing for the position were interviewing for the dean of students. The hiring committee involved, they were in the impression that they were asking questions and hiring this position, these candidates for the dean of students. And they were not happy afterwards that the position was just after the person was hired, that the position was then changed to assistant principal of RES. So some of the hiring committees folks were not very happy that they said it was actually a waste of their time. Why did we do this? And I'm looking as board member that I'm sorry, but I don't feel like it was very transparent the way it was brought onto the board. Because we were told it was dean of students, then all of a sudden on the agenda, they hired assistant principal. So. And I also was told that there was gonna be 2 additional people inside our school district who would have applied for the assistant principal if they known that was assistant principal job. So you're absolutely correct that there would have been at least 1 or 2 candidates from within Roscommon who would have applied. And they were very upset because now their opportunity to apply and to possibly advance in Roscommon is gone. It's like they don't have a chance now. So, now they may look, I was told they may look elsewhere now for that opportunity.
It's just for transparency, I think we should take a look.
I'm okay with that.
Give it another, give those a.
my question is, has this individual been told that they got the job?
Yes, but they got the job that there was for the dean of students. They were hired for dean of students. And now the administration has changed it after they were hired to assistant principal.
Well, that's not quite true. We offered her the job as assistant principal.
But
We didn't offer
But the
her
hiring
dean of
committee,
students. Right, but the hiring committee makes recommendations to the administration and the
For the
administration hires, so. It's not, they don't make those calls, and they're well aware of that when they go through that process. So it
yeah.
comes to the office here, so, and they're not hired until it goes through this board process, so.
And in
nobody's-
our meeting today, you did agree that the process will fall.
I agreed that we changed the thing, but that we changed the position, and we could have done it better, you're right, I agree with that.
That's, yeah.
But, administration has the right to post and create what it chooses, and there is no obligation on administration part. There's nothing that obligates us in contracts or anything to post positions, but.
And I do approve of the assistant principal position. I think that is a better position than what we need. So I do agree with that.
Right.
I just think that from what I heard, like you said, we probably could have done a better job, and I think we owe it to our school district to do a better job. Because when you have a flawed hiring process, then you're gonna get flawed results. So we want to make sure our results are.
I don't think it was flawed, I just don't think it was transparent. I don't think there was anything
I
wrong,
agree, transparent.
but it wasn't as transparent. I'll give you that.
Okay.
So to try to move this along, it doesn't mean that the individual would still be selected if we reopen the posting.
Yeah, they posted it for the assistant principal. They need to post it for the assistant principal of the RES.
Can we do that?
Not of RS though, just assistant principals, that was,
Assistant principal.
Yeah.
Understanding it's not just RES.
Does that need a motion?
No. No, we haven't moved on the proposed resolution, so we'll table that until next month and ask Kathy to repost that internally.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the request to address the need for behavior. And that was at the end of the meeting last month, Kurt, that presented 3 different.
Yeah, I handed out all those
Descriptions.
just to kind of basically compare the dean of students, and all of those were out of just basically Indeed. Just give me the super nuts of, this is what it does, this is what it does, just to show that those three positions are totally different. The behaviors focuses on the behavior of the individual. And behaviors have a different educational background than social workers, teachers, admin. It has different skill sets, different training, different everything. It's not. It's not a typical position in a school yet, but it's growing. Because that skill set, that training, that education focuses on the behavior, they set behavior plans. For that kid, which is gonna be different than that kid, which is gonna be different, it might be the same as that kid, but we don't know until they get in there. But it's not focused on teachers necessarily, it is focused on that kid. Okay, how do I, okay, I get this kid now that their training background knowledge is, they understand this kid. Then they can go out and say, okay, teacher A, here's this is where this is my approach with this kid. Or that one or that one, and it's not the behaviors would come in. When something flares up without having to go to the principal to get to that punishment phase, get to that behavior phase.
I guess I'm trying to understand the position and the hiring of this.
I can't pull it up because it's not, it's attached, but it's not pulling up, because it has all the details in that page.
Is this what you would expect to be a full-time position then, Kurt?
It would be a full-time position, I mean, in some cases, more than a full-time position, because of the number
Does
of
this kind of fit into the question Mike was talking about earlier in a way with parental education in a sense, if we find that this child may be lacking of some kind of supervision or something to that effect, or?
It could, yeah, I mean. I am not the expert on the position, I just know that. It's currently not being dealt with at schools. But every school district that I know of is trying to figure it out, and this is really the way that most schools, people. I know they're trying everywhere to get it,
Would it be K through 12?
well, I think like right now, you said the frequent flyer, it could be K through 12. It could be,
Wherever
but
it's needed.
right now, the fire seems to be with the little ones, good for teaching, teach the little ones to behave. And how they control their behavior, that's the biggest thing, is you control your behavior, I don't. And that's part of it, and then therefore, as they get older, they've got the skills. To behave.
So what you're saying is, other school districts are seeking this kind of a position. But
Yes,
to your knowledge, you haven't seen or heard anybody that has established.
no, that I'm aware of, but I know everybody's talking about.
Often these positions lie within the ISD in terms of support for kids who come in and work with staff that work directly with kids, true? I mean.
These people work directly with kids, not with staff.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, a lot of the support used to live at the ISD, like we used to have an autism specialist at the ISD who would come in and work with our staff who worked with the
Yes,
ISD.
well, yeah, they do have,
And so,
we have a couple right now that come in. and
Yep.
With the staff.
right, exactly, and so that's.
I'm just wondering, even though you're thinking.
But
it might
some of
be
these
more-
kids with the behaviors are not necessarily special ed kids with an IEP. So therefore, they're not autistic. Or they're not diagnosed as
Some of
autistic.
them are not.
They're technically gen ed kids.
Yeah.
And there is no support for that other than,
At the ISD.
Well, at the ISD there is but in our own building, we have teams of people through ISSN teams in buildings.
yeah, but again, those are teams that are teacher educated.
Or social worker.
And again, social worker is a totally different angle than the behaviors. They work with different goals, they work with different things. The social worker incorporates more of the family into this than what the behaviorist does. And I just feel it needs to be looked at seriously. Because again, these are people with psychology degrees, not social workers. These are people with psych degrees, not teaching degrees. These are people that are trained.
Can they diagnose?
For those, what's that?
Can they diagnose?
I mean, they're not licensed, they're not doctors, they can't.
It's typically though been more of a clinician sort of therapy historically. It's not been within schools. It's been something you would seek as a family or a parent in a clinical setting.
I mean, this one says bachelor's degree in psychology. Some of them can, right? Or do they have to be?
No, you have to have a master's degree.
If they have a master,
Masters, yeah, there's training.
So, I mean, it
beyond
could be.
that's required.
I mean, you could find someone.
Yeah,
They're not knocking down the doors of the schools.
Right.
well, there's not a real role for them in the schools currently. They don't fit within the social work system. They don't fit within the a special ed system and the IEPs.
But
It's just
they
not
don't
typical.
exist, not because they don't need them.
Because they're not.
That's what, traditionally, they've never been in a school setting. And if they should, but what they're doing is like, a lot of kids will go to ABA therapy after school. Well, the problem is that the problem happened during school, not after school when you do something like that. This is the in-school component to it.
I'm curious as to how these two positions, because we're not talking about three anymore, we dropped this one, right, we tabled this one, the. Dean of students, we tabled that one,
Assistant principal.
right? But when I'm looking at these two positions, I'm wondering, how are these two positions gonna improve accountability or discipline? When I see discipline, I'm not talking about spanking or anything like that, but I'm talking about everyday, day in, day out routine that these kids need. And accountability for when they do something wrong.
I mean, I can't say it's been a while, but I do have a psych degree, and when you are dealing with behaviors, they need to be dealt with pretty much immediately, or
Instantly.
it doesn't have any effect.
And not necessarily with punishment, just
Correct.
to be addressed.
Correct,
Well, and that's my question,
so that,
because I want to
It's gotta
get
be
to some
some-
accountability and discipline in our schools. I've had the same kid in my daughter's class for. More than a year, in trouble every day,
I can see.
nothing happens.
This is kind of a cool concept, I like it because it's not all kids have IEPs or 504s and they don't. They
But
still
that's
may
maybe
have
what
a
we have.
discipline issue. It could be something going on even at home that is. Frustrating that issue just for that month, or there's so many variables. It's cool, I think it's a really neat concept.
But I have a lot of faith in the teachers that we put in there, they're very smart. I don't really see the addition of another very smart person in a word salad trying to convince these kids what's going on, the parents are smart enough to help these kids. I do like the social worker idea because they're mandatory reporters, they're gonna talk to the family. They're gonna get the family more involved, maybe they'll suggest somebody read a parenting book. But this is, the behavioralist one is more. I don't really see why.
Kurt, is what you're suggesting that they could be like, for example, focused on the elementary school and potentially focused on a population, like you're saying, gen ed kids gen ed kids with behavior problems. So if we feel like, when we look at like a pie chart of parts of our student population that have specific support, this. could
Well,
be
anybody
focused
with
on
an
a part of-
IEP pretty much has a one-on-one parent.
Right,
These are
no, that's not true.
No, but I mean, they don't all do it, but
Yeah.
they have the
There's
not saying
support.
that this would be exclusive, but I'm saying that this would fulfill a need that doesn't currently have any specific support.
Yeah,
Mhm.
ideally, that's what.
Would they, do we have someone that works with parapros currently that kind of? Is that the ISD?
Part of the role of the new behavior support person that we hired Kathy Landry's for is to work with parapros as they work with difficult kids. We've done professional development with them over the course of the year. After school, every time we have teacher professional development early release, the opportunities for professional development are for parapros at that time too. My recommendation on this would be to move it to the office of the new position and have them go through the system of support and see what the teams come up with is needed. What supports do they need to work with these students? So, I mean, and maybe this is where it bubbles up from, but I mean, like you are looking at 7, 8 of us who are as far removed from actual student engagement as we can get. Like, I don't think that this is, I think a suggestion and what's needed needs to come from people a lot closer to the issue
That
that.
was gonna just be my next, our next bullet point is fostering community relationships, and I wonder if there was a survey or something done, and parents would have interest in having if we explained what it was, they would have interest in support that.
I'm trying to get on board with this, Kurt. Would this person be one-on-one with the kid, able to talk to them?
Not all the time 100%, but they would be available for that kid
To
in
interview.
that moment with intervention. But they wouldn't be like working with every day, day in and day out.
Cause I mean, when I was a kid, that I was a troublemaker, but I had a lot of shit going on at home. Someone used to come in and get me out of the classroom and talk to me.
Yeah, and that's.
And I liked that because I could trust them not to talk to anyone else that I had in my life, and I could tell them the truth about things, you know what I mean? I didn't
Yeah,
have to.
and that would be, but
If we
saying-
have those people.
You're saying
very
you already have
involved.
those people.
Yeah, I mean, we have social workers, we have counselors that engage with students. We have, support people for kids. I mean, not all kids, but I mean, not every kid utilizes that service, but those services do exist within our current structure.
But this person would be like
This person would be more.
designated, like I
Well,
know,
therapeutic is the word that comes to my mind. You're trying to fix something, you know what I mean? Not just,
well, you're
right?
teaching the kid to fix.
Right,
Understand where he's
yeah,
coming from.
I'm thinking of my own situation when my kiddo goes, when she used to go from 0 to red hot. And she needed assistance in recognizing how to cope with her.
And that would be
her own-
in the trade,
And it has to happen right then and there.
Yeah.
And if, that would be,
and
good.
then the behaviors would be able to hopefully teach them
And she
to
has.
recognize that in herself or themselves and then
Yeah. And we went
implement the
through,
tools that they're given.
we went through private to do that for
Well,
years
this
and
is-
years, so.
This stuff.
Not all
exists
parents
out
can
in the
do that,
world,
yeah,
But it costs money.
exactly.
So would these two people work together?
Which do, Mike, I don't know.
The social worker and the behavioralist, they probably work together, right? I don't really see anything on the social workers like outreach to families here. Is it in there? Am I missing?
Well, those are just job
Those are just
descriptions.
job
He
descriptions.
can hold
Those are
on to
just generic.
it.
But I mean, if we could guarantee that I know that this person right here, the social worker, would reach out to families and actually talk to mom and dad.
I don't know if they do or not.
They have parent interaction. Social.
I do
workers
think
do.
what you're
Teachers
bringing
do.
up as a breath, what Kirk's bringing up is a different thing. Cause I think that's important, I think, and I completely agree with what you brought up about family involvement. But I think
The
to the point
social,
of like what's happening at that moment and like just teaching kids skills like before they go to 10, like not. Every kid needs to have a diagnosis or have like a formal plan, but like lots of kids need help just learning how to. Like regulate or understand their own emotions and just be in the classroom all day. I mean, part of it to me is just like to your point about. Just teaching and instilling like, what is our elementary school culture starting, here, so that when they get to the middle school. They've already sorted through some of that and they don't.
But that's kind of the system we have in place with in student support systems and the student support networks in each building, because all kids need that, what you just said, all kids need to learn how to do school. How to come, how to be part of a community, what it means to be part of a community, what it looks like when you're one of several. How do your needs get met? How do you access things? Like all kids need to learn how to do that. And so then there are students who need additional. So that's why we have ISSN teams or student support teams to meet with staff, to meet collectively to talk about what do these kids need that's extra. Because they're not, the collective class lessons for everybody, what we refer to as tier 1, everybody gets this lesson. Isn't enough to get that student to where they are functional.
what's missing from that system is the kid. Ultimately, it's teachers talking about it with other teachers, about how do we do this. That's the part that's being missed. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, I'm just saying it doesn't really work, I don't think. Especially for that high flyer profile.
So can we go ahead and ask Kathy to kind of pass this to develop and we'll have some more.
Oh, I don't wanna make a decision tonight, I just want it to be brought up in discussion and. Perfect. Done, to be looked at, seriously looked at.
Good idea.
I appreciate it, that's fair, thank you.
Okay. So the next item on the agenda is fostering community relationships. Janet had asked me if we might be able to have some discussion after following or before the millage election last month, or early this month. And about some of the community commentary out there that suggests some negativity about the school, right? Kind of.
Yeah, I just, you know, like, toss around some ideas on what the community wants and what we can do to help facilitate that, and I had some ideas. Obviously, I've been thinking about it since I did a lot of, you know, social media work, pre-millage. So I think I got a lot of the feedback, but I wanted to get everyone's opinion on maybe some of the things.
I don't
we
think it's a
should-
bad idea at all, as I said to you, that, you know, bring it on the agenda and have a discussion.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I
So-
think we need to do more for senior population too, because we
Okay.
have such a large,
Yeah.
and we are Roscommon County is the largest per population of seniors than any other county in Michigan, so we have a lot older. folks here.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's a great place to retire, and,
It's a great place to raise a family too. Just kidding. It's a great place to raise a family too.
When we did our superintendent interviews, I know one of the candidates had been Bez, I can't remember now, and I wouldn't want to speak incorrectly, but talked about doing community events here at the school, and that is something that would draw senior citizens. And I think, I've done a few community resource events through DHS where you bring in lots of different organizations. And then we had a food truck, so you kind of got like a big thing of food, but you had to go around to each station and kind of talk to people. And they did that at the, I think it was in the Grayling Community Center, which is, has a ton of stuff there, they have bingo, they have dancing, they have so much stuff there, but. If the school would host something like that.
What was the theme of the state, or what was the theme of the stations? What would people come for?
So, like DHS had applications,
Oh, okay.
and then there was I think the health department were giving away like free gun safes, so that was pretty
Oh,
popular. And then they just talked about what resources are available to the community members at each, you know, I can't even remember, but there were
Yeah.
different. you
So
know,
even like if the school brought in like the chamber choir, do you know what I mean? Or like, I mean, maybe we have a table, we brought in the chamber choir to sing or something for 20 minutes or something like that,
It
at
was-
an event.
Yeah, it was more like things that were like banks, there was a bank there, what
Services.
services.
Like the business expo downtown.
Exactly, but it was
Okay.
more geared toward the.
So it's like a business
population.
thing, okay. Got you.
So if you had questions about your Medicare, Medicaid, I was there to answer those, if there were special
Okay.
programs for senior citizens from banking institutions or. And I have a contact through both Roscommon and Crawford County, that's how they do through DHS's community resources, so, you know, it wouldn't be difficult to get something together, we would just, this building would just host it, basically. And then we had a food truck at the end that, you know, if you did all the stations, you got a nice big bag of food. To be a carrot, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I thought about,
kitchen, but,
I thought about like doing some more transparency on social media, like when I was in school, and I'm aging myself. And Mike said he got, you know, at school when there was a discipline issue, someone talked to him, we had like the paddle with the holes in it, that's how old I am, but there was no interventionist in my school at all. There was like the principal, the athletic director, who was also the counselor, that was it. So people, especially older people, we don't, you know, we're not familiar with all of these administration, and I think the community is like, why is there so much administration? That's a bulk of the money. So maybe do a spotlight if they're okay with letting one of us or me or whoever. Just do a quick little 30-second minute, like, here's all the things that these people do every day, and this is why they're so important, and.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if. Yeah, like just a spotlight, and even like have some kids even go to certain businesses and work there for a day in the summer, or you know what I mean? But the thing about this community is it's big, and there's 2 lakes, there's kind of 2 communities. in one school that's kind of closer to one of the, you know what I mean? So we need to figure out how to get everybody on board and supportive. I also was thinking, and I don't even know if this is feasible, if it's just crazy, but I just thought of it because I'm going through it. I have a 15-year-old who's looking at driving, and I knew there was a cost. Again, I'm the age where it was free, because that was before, you know, the state ended all that, but I didn't realize how expensive it was. I didn't know if there would be funds available to set up like a, you know, 10 kids, we'll sponsor 10 kiddos through driver's education. But they have to, you know, go through certain, you know, obviously have to be grade wise, be doing well, or, you know, I didn't even know if that would be a need, but it would help probably remove some barriers for families.
Well,
It's
we used to
really
do
expensive.
driver's training, why did we ever get away?
The state, it's from the 90s, the state ended the funding, so they ended the mandate that schools had to require.
Well, I mean, if we wanted to make a big step towards the community and fostering the relationship, we could bring back driver's training of our own and have the class here.
That's really expensive. I think.
Yeah, we'd have to, it's no longer, it used to be part of teacher certification, there was a mechanism, I don't even know. As she said, it's long phased out of schools, I don't know what it takes to be a driver's ed instructor. I don't even know what that takes anymore.
I know it's before 1994, I think is when they, so the state required that schools provide it, and then the state quit paying for it, so then they removed that requirement, obviously, so now parents, you know, slowly they're paying for it, and slowly the price goes up.
Okay, so this sounds terrible, but the schools did it until the person who was certified was left, retired, and then there was
Oh,
nothing to backfill it, and
Yeah.
so they stopped. It has not been in this district, well, I got here in '99, it was not here when I came.
Yeah, I think it ended.
So I don't know where
94.
year it ended.
Yeah, I think it was mid-90s.
I still had it 96 here.
92,
Did you?
93,
97
I
is still here.
And it was here,
Yeah,
okay,
Mrs. Bonanza.
yeah, '99 it was not, so
But
someone.
when she-
It's like between those-
She
yeah.
left,
Yeah.
it ended or what have you, but I just thought, you know, especially up here, the public transportation is not like it is downstate where there's scheduled buses, scheduled, you know where it's going and know where it's gonna be there. It could help foster relationships, it could help remove some barriers for kids that maybe wanna do book club, but you know, mom, you know, has kids at home, doesn't wanna load up all the kids to take them to the sport, take them to the extracurricular. It's a expensive, it's $600 right now, I think.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. I waited to get my tax return and now I'm actually too late to get
I
it.
think there is a program out there that helps.
Oh, is there?
There is.
Maybe they could have the community involvement night.
Yeah. I can't right now think of who it is. But I looked into it.
Well, I could look it up and share that with,
I looked into it years ago.
did you?
Yes, because one of my daughters was very, very upset at work and said, Mom, there's kids at work that can't afford driver's training.
Yeah, imagine-
Can the school do anything?
Imagine if
You
you
know,
know, more than one kid,
he was
you know,
very
though, too.
Yeah,
That's very.
yeah.
Michigan
expensive.
works.
I thought, that's what I was gonna say, but I didn't wanna say, that's what I think it was.
That might be, and actually, now that I think about that, yeah.
Well, and
I
that
think
is
that's
somebody
what-
that you could bring to a community event.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, and she's in our high school,
Oh, cool.
the community works
Yeah.
counselor is in our high school,
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, but think about if you had 3 kiddos, cause they can start at like 14 in so many months. And then all the way up to, you know, 18, and if you have 3 kids,
That's a fair chunk. of
there's
change.
$600, you know, the first segment is the expensive one, I'm like, I think the next segment is much cheaper, but yeah.
But then you pay for the test, and then you pay.
I hope they,
And hope they pass the first time, or you pay for the test again.
so that,
Say,
those were some of my ideas, I didn't know if I had any kind of like if I do a spotlight, if I should kind of pass. Kind of like have someone review that before I start, you know what I mean?
why don't you run it through the board office and Des and I can take a look at it, just to.
Okay.
The only important thing would be if we do kids, we just have to make sure that they were okay. with
Yeah,
it, you know what I mean?
I think I would,
Adults by talking to you would be
I think I
inherent,
would start with,
inherent consent,
but
but
administration, 'cause I
Right.
feel like
that's
that,
fine.
a lot of the feedback I got was, where's all the money?
Where's the money going?
Yeah, and I mean, administrators, they, you know,
They'd be fine.
yeah, as long as they would be okay, and then I'm thinking, that's all I had on my wrote down.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Thank you, thank you.
sort of tying into the initial comment on that about the millage and some of the communications out in media. I just thought it important that we further kind of revisit a couple of our policies. And I'm gonna read from these, so bear with me, folks, as I do this, because it's really important. It's the underlying foundation of the success of our district. And so the administrative guideline manual refers to the mission of the district. As a vision statement, the Roscommon Area Public Schools serves as a destination district. We'll collaborate with our community to be leaders in education. A mission statement states that we are to educate, challenge, and inspire all students to become lifelong learners who are well prepared for our global society. A belief statement is that we believe in everyone's worth, dignity, right, and ability to learn and make positive contributions to society. And finally, a number of value statements that we want to offer a safe and welcoming environment. We want to have collaborative community involvement, as Jan is saying. We want to have continuous improvement and learning, because nobody's perfect, I guess. We want to have diverse thoughts, ideas, and insights. We want to have open and effective communication. We want to have respect for self and others, and we want to have school pride. So to tie into that, then our bylaws, our manual states, kind of provisions for public expression of board members. The board president functions as the official spokesperson for the board. From time to time, however, individual board members will make public statements on school matters. If the statements imply, or if the readers or listeners could infer that the opinions expressed or statements made are the official positions of the board member shall, when writing or speaking on school matters, make it clear that their views do not necessarily reflect the views of the board or of their colleagues on the board. Two subsections A and B. A says, this bylaw shall apply to all statements and or writings by individual board members not explicitly sanctioned by a majority of its members, except as follows, and there are five. 1, correspondence, such as legislative proposals when the board member has received official guidance from the board on the matters discussed in the letter. 2, routine, not for publication correspondence of the superintendent and other board employees. 3, routine thank you letters of the board. 4, statements by board members on non-school matters, as providing the statements do not identify the author as a member of the board. And 5, personal statements not intended for publication. Subsection B says, copies of this bylaw shall be sent annually to the local media by the board president. So that's going to be my reminder to send that to the resort. A board member's personal or private use of social media may have unintended negative consequences to the board member and or the district, including possible violations of the Open Meetings Act and issues related to creation of a public record. Postings to social media should be done in a manner sensitive to the board members' responsibilities, applicable district policies, and legal obligations. So I received a couple of concerns about some of the social media that we had out there. And I wanted them to revisit what happens or what should a board do when they receive complaints. And it's a very lengthy policy regarding public complaints. And it isn't really treated unless it's directed to a professional staff member, or regarding the superintendent, or matters regarding an administrative staff member, matters regarding a support staff member, matters regarding district services or operations, matters regarding educational program, and matters regarding instructional materials. And there's a step list, if you will, on the processes that we should follow when we receive those public complaints. I don't want to poo-poo those complaints that we receive. I just want to reassure that the individuals that made those concerns known, that they're not just being dropped, that we're going to consider and keep trying to work on being better. Because the last thing that I, as the president, or as a member of this board, want to have a perception in the public is that we're a dysfunctional board. I want us to work together as best as we can. So if we have concerns, there's some kinds of things that we need to think about at how we want to talk about. And I'm going to ask Kathy to send out a copy of this old do's and don'ts of effective board members to everybody on the board to review. And let's try to think about those suggestions before we come out and we make certain statements or comments that might not be helpful. We also have a policy for board member ethics, okay? That is 144.2. I'm going to also ask Kathy to share that with everybody. And then finally, we have a kind of following up on Jana, public relations objectives. And that's 9120A. It says the purpose of the school community relations program, now that we're going to have one, is to establish and maintain in the public mind both respect for the school system and confidence that it is providing the best possible education for the district students in terms of intellectual, emotional, moral, social, and physical development. To this end, parents and other district residents are to be kept informed regarding federal/state regulations and district policies and guidelines. The superintendent shall be responsible for the district's public relations program, which shall be designed to accomplish the following objectives, A, B, C, D. A, explain in an understandable, non-condescending manner the programs, the achievements, and the needs of the schools to parents, local officials, community leaders, local business and industry, community organizations, special interest groups, the community as a whole, and state and federal agencies. And B, obtain reliable, useful information regarding four things. 1, what residents expect from their schools. 2, what residents think their schools are accomplishing. 3, what residents would like to know about their schools. And 4, what residents would like their schools to be doing different. Letter C, anticipate potential problems caused by misunderstanding or lack of information and take measures to eliminate them before they happen. And finally, D, operate meetings in accordance with the law and as speedily, unlike tonight, and efficiently as circumstances permit. So after I'm done in a second, I just wanted to remind our members of the public that we also have a policy regarding board meetings. And so that says the Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on district matters. To permit fair and orderly public expression, the board shall provide a period for public participation at public meetings of the board and publish rules to govern such participation in board meetings and in board committee meetings. We have a set of those types of things. The rule shall be administered and enforced by the presiding officer of the meeting. So more or less, we want to hear from everybody that wants to come and give comment, as is your right, both by statute and our policy. We respectfully ask that everybody try to maintain the same civility as everybody would expect of us. So with that being said, I am not going to carry on any further about I jumped in front of on President's business, the community relationships, so we'll open it up to public comment, and then after that. We'll have the superintendent's report, and then board comments, and then we're gonna go into a closed session about our negotiations, so. Does anybody wanna make any comments with that? I don't wanna. Don't say anything, I want you to step up and say something if you feel you need. Yes.
Jennifer Smettle, I first want to just commend you, I think you made the right choice on tabling the position once it was transferred from one to the other. And then listening to the explanation of the behaviorist, I guess the only question I would have with that would be what difference this behaviorist position would be versus the behavioral interventionist that is currently in the elementary school. And those would be my only two comments.
Okay, so my suggestion again, because. There's all kinds of written statements about board and public meetings and open meetings and public questions, is that it's your opportunity to make comment. While we probably would really like to respond, we want to also go home tonight. So if you would be so kind as maybe follow that up with Kathy to get from Jana and Kurt, and we can kind of split that up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say that I appreciate the board members who really worked hard to explain what the millage was, what the 18 mils was, why there was the 0.5 on there, and I do really appreciate you guys doing that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Very good. All right, so next up, superintendent's report.
All right, I have a couple of things. One, we're wrapping up the year, technically, but there's only 3 weeks left of school. So there's sports wrapping this week. District soccer plays Wednesday. The girls' soccer team plays Pinconning in a district game. Wednesday night is the choir concert, the middle high school choir concert at 7 o'clock, and Thursday is graduation. So I'm hoping that's on everybody's calendar. Please be in front of the the media center at 6:40, and we'll line up in March. So, and that starts at 7 on Thursday. The girls track team won the regional track meet last Saturday, and no, last Thursday. Wrong day. But anyway, won, and it turns out I didn't guess I don't remember this, but there is no MHSAA state track meet. But they are competing this Saturday in a regional, I don't know, event of some nature. Thank you. We did, however, at the regional meet have 8 girls going to the state meet in the track meet. So that would be the weekend after Memorial Day. So that's super exciting that we've never had that many in a long time. We often have a couple, but 8's a lot. And then the other thing I just wanted to update people on was the legislation. Friday was the consensus revenue conference in Lansing. There is optimism that the budget will actually be adopted by the July 1 deadline. There is a legislative deadline for July 1, and last year, you'll recall, they just ignored it. And but this year, I actually think that they're headed to have a budget by July 1 for schools, which will be good as we look to planning, because June next month is our budget month. So, and in the picture in Lansing is, at least for this next year, stable. School aid was up just over 2%. The bad news is the general fund is down about 1%. And as you know, for those of you who've watched this historically, when the general fund is down, they look to the school fund to steal something, to fund something from the general fund that they can't afford anymore. So that will be kind of our watch as we look at budgets going forward. And that is all that I have.
Great, thank you. All right, so board comments, Lauren, I'll jump over on your side.
I just want to say I appreciate the reading of the bylaws and the reminders, Scott, thank you. One thing I wanted to add to that was a reminder about the NASB board member courses, and there's a board member certification course. So just like as an idea, there's 9 courses in the entry, like, board member certification course. Beyond that, it's like specializations, and so I posit a challenge that if we all took like 3 courses over the next year, together, we'd probably cover all 9 and we could move on from there. So I just think, having deeper board member, I guess there's like just the training and knowledge in the classes, and I feel like it could be, an even stronger board through doing that. So, I know you, Kathy, you remind us about this all the time.
Well, just to piggyback off of that, there are both virtual classes, so you can do them from home, and there are in person. If you'd rather go to a conference and sit for the day and hear live people, that's an option too. And just a reminder, the district will pay for that, so either tell me to register you or register and then submit a receipt and we'll reimburse you. But so there is money for that, so if that's the interest of yours, let us know, we'll help you get registered there.
And then I know I missed the last one, so we might have covered this, but, we'll all have to get evaluated in the superintendent evaluation.
Yes,
So,
That's scheduled, right?
yes.
Okay.
Well, no, we looked at doing that in the fall after the school year started, September-ish, October-ish, get out of summer was basically the thought. What's scheduled in July is not the evaluator training, it's the board working together, superintendent board.
Successful superintendent transition.
Perfect.
mhm. So that's another thing that we'll all need to do.
Well,
Before
yeah, that-
December. That's right.
Before we evaluate, that's right.
Yes, yes. And so just wanted to put that plug in and just, I just appreciate the discussion at this board level. I think, I appreciate the topics brought, and Jana, look, I don't know what the rules are, but I totally support the community involvement initiative and, would love to see us open our doors to things like you mentioned, and perhaps Michael, like offering some kind of parent training in conjunction with that, with lots of carrots. I totally support that, so I love these ideas and I just share them.
I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Michael?
Let's say congratulations to the track team. Again, that was quite amazing what they've accomplished. Thank you.
Very good. Kurt?
I would like to thank the voters for passing the rules.
Yes, they know.
I'd like to commend Janet and Scott for the work that you guys did, getting the word out there. It was so succinct and perfect and wonderful and amazing. The work that you did. And then also on a high note, we have 2 young ladies from CTE down there going all the way to Hotlanta in June because they qualified for nationals. In the Schools USA Cups.
That's awesome.
That's
great.
really cool.
Amazing opportunity for the young ones.
Awesome.
That's it.
Thank you, Dana.
Not much, just I will say as a result of all of, work that I was doing on the village, I learned just so much. And I've also, I'm following now a lot of like Fort Attic and the scholarships that were just given, and Charlton Heston, I'm following their PTO board, and they're, all on social media just to keep spreading positivity throughout the community.
Thank you.
Like the scholarships were great, and it was all students of all the county, Houghton Lake, Shaw, Roscommon. It was really cool to see the amount of kids that got awards for scholarship.
Live.
Pardon?
It's really something to see it live as well.
I mean, I couldn't imagine. I feel like I probably will like cry at a graduation, and I don't even have a kid in graduating.
It was.
So if it happens, just don't look at me. No, you haven't. But that's it, that's it.
Good job, thank you. Mike?
Just 2 things. I'm still interested in the monthly incident report. I'm not a database guy, so if you're into fostering transparency with the community and you'd like to help, please get at me. And then I'd like to talk about something that happened this weekend at the recital. Did anyone go to the recital of the dance recital? The kids?
Gymnastics.
No,
Oh,
dance.
oh.
It was wonderful.
I was there.
I loved it. I love that the programs can come in, and I hate that every time I look at something, I have to see the issue in it. But it's in the best interest of the district. there was a physical altercation at the dance Saturday. I'm not picking sides, I don't care who it was, there was. There could be accountability on both sides, it was not one-sided. But the issue that I seen was. No matter how you tell the story, when it come down to the end. We had people running security that had no business running security because they were doing it with hot attitudes. I don't know if you've ever been on a security detail before, but you try to handle these things with like gloves, you know what I mean, and they didn't. They just didn't. Again, I'm not picking sides, but what I will say is that we're gonna host something and we're gonna bring someone in here and we're gonna have another entity run our building. They should hire at least one security person to be here. It would bode well for us in liability. Because all I kept thinking was liability when it was happening, I stayed out of it, because I don't need another issue in this school. But it would be in the best interest of the district. To make sure that there was security on hand when there was a third party hosting something. Or
Did you see the incident?
I did. I seen most of it. I didn't see it all, so I really don't wanna comment on what I seen, cause I didn't see the whole thing. But I know it was two-sided, it wasn't just one side. I mean, if opinions were involved, I would think the source is the ticketing system. That because it's a two-tier system, you gotta seat yourself between 3 or 4. Show don't start till 5. They sell these tickets that are prepaid, and then from 4 until 5, you're supposed to be able to walk up and just buy your ticket. Well, there was some kind of confusion, again, I don't know, and I'm not trying to pick a side, but there was some kind of confusion. On how many tickets they can sold, and they were doling out attitude, not tickets. When someone sat in someone else's seat that was reserved, because someone had reserved their seat of 4, there's 4 seats right together. A party of 3 came in, well, they didn't see their badges, their wristbands, or whatever on the seats, or I don't know, maybe they did, that's what I'm saying, I don't know. I don't know the story, but I will say. That it came down to a physical altercation, and that there should have been a security guard on staff, not who was dealing with it. I don't wanna say anything, I don't care, but if we're gonna have somebody here, we should have a security
Do you
guard.
have a standard contract and have a third party operating the school?
We have a rental contract for facility use that they fulfill, typically the things that we don't have any security, we don't have security people ourselves. We rely on Garrish Township to police department to, meet any sort of security needs we have. But when people rent our facility, typically the things that we will offer assistance with are, we will mandate some sort of custodian. So that there's somebody on site to manage that, and then we, if they use tech, like in the auditorium, there's a tech person there. So those would have been the 2 people on site that were district employees, other than that, it had nothing to do with the district, it was just a facility rental. And it's a lot, it's gotten bigger and bigger, and it now is multiple days, and you know, it used to be a smaller thing, and now it's larger and all day, and I don't know, I debriefed with the rental people, like, I don't know what their thoughts are on the subject. So, but again, ticket sales had nothing to do with us, I mean, we didn't sell tickets, we were involved in that
Yeah,
process.
and to be clear, I don't care about England,
Yeah,
I'm worried about the liability, I don't wanna take a lawsuit because.
well, I think the police were called,
Well, they were, but by then,
it was too late, it was the end of it,
that situation could have been solved with a little more tactfulness, that's all it needed.
right?
That's all it needed.
Is there a clause that we can add into our standard contracts that at least like makes it clear that we're not on site other than those people and that we're
I
not?
think
That what we'd ask them to
I
provide
think that
security.
every person that rents it realizes they hold the school district harmless.
They have to provide they have to provide, you know, those insurance statements that say that they release the district of liability.
Yeah, but when it comes down to subrogation and you're all in the room and they're determining responsibility on the lawsuit. They could still try to hold us liable.
They can try all they want, they won't get it. They can try all they want. Guaranteed.
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, the things that our buildings are small scale and we're trying to, just make the building, as we said, open and available to the community for use, so we try to add as little expense to it as possible. Not to mention, we don't even possess security people, it wouldn't be anything we would say we would give you our person.
I love that they were here, it was great, but it was big.
It was big. And I think that might be the lesson, is that they need to come and do it in different ways, like different dates. Separate it out, because I think there were, I don't know, there was gymnastics, there was dance, there were things hanging, the silks hanging from the ceiling, what I mean? It was like, it went bam, bam, bam all day long. And I get from their perspective why they wanted to do it that way, but maybe it just. Anyway, probably there were some lessons learned on their end too, as I said, but I have not talked to them.
Okay, my last comment, we'll follow up Kathy's on her weekly report to us about. We still need a couple of the board profiles, please, with your.
Okay, can I add something to that? I sent Kathy like a novel where I'm sure you were just like, what is this? And she was able to organize my information in a very nice professional
Looked
manner.
great.
So trust her with the.
Well, I'll send it to you.
I'll send you my novel then.
Just.
Stop talking. I really had it.
And I'll get it back to you.
She did great, so
She did.
I was worried, 'cause I'm like, if this goes on there, it's gonna be so. She did a great job. So, yeah.
Well, we'll set up a time for you to have a phone call. Yeah.
There you are. I'll type. That's fine. Just call me. I'll type in the form and then you can get it.
It would be helpful in terms of, I think, our the election coming up for board members too, and then the reminder, make sure you get in your petition. And hopefully they're able to maintain what we got here, so. All right, with that being said, we have a suggested resolution to go into a closed session that will take, and that will be by roll call. Anybody want to make the motion?
I'll make a motion for Roscoe County Public Schools Board of Education for going into closed session to discuss RTA negotiation.
A second that.
We get a 10-minute recess.
Trying so hard.
Pardon me?
Give it to Laura.
Laura got it.
We get 10 minutes is all. Couple minutes.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, we will come back after
I
the
think
closed
it's an individual
session.
roll call. It's.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Mike, roll call.
Scott Hess,
Yes.
Michael Bailey,
Here.
Jana Falsetta.
Here.
Kurt Lowell.
Here.
Michael
Yes.
Herky.
Wait, we're saying yes.
No, yes.
Oh, sorry, yes, sorry.
Yes.
We're voting to go into the closed session.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I was confused.
I just followed the leader.
Me too.
I'm assuming that we're all yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mike Herky.
Yes.
Yes.
Lauren.
Yeah.
Motion carried. Okay, after we're through with the closed session, we will just come back in to adjourn.
So you, audience is welcome to come listen.